Okay, welcome everyone. I haven't done one of these in a long time. Uh, I just loaded Inventor 2022 the other day, and it's kind of fun to be back behind the CAD station again for a change. Wanted to show off a new feature in Inventor 2022, which I'm proud to say was one of my ideas that I put into the idea station way back in 2017 before I took the job with Autodesk. And I got a lot of great support from the community. Thank you, Massimo, and all of your friends who voted for the idea. But as we all know by now, things take a little bit of time to get into the program. So it took a couple of years for them to get this developed. The new feature is the instance property tag. Now, this was an idea that I came up with because, a lot of you know, I do a lot of work with piping. And with a piping and instrumentation diagram, which is a 2D schematic layout of your design, every single item on there is going to have an individual tag number, even though in the real world they may be the same exact part, and in your Inventor assembly may be the exact same part, and quite often from the content center. So how are you going to put that tag number on all of these components, especially the content center components, and have them be a unique tag number for each instance of, for example, a valve? The only way that I could have seen prior to this to achieve this was to create a column in your parts list on your drawing and put in static text, which was fine. It got the job done, but if something changed in the design, you had to manually go in and update all of those tag numbers. So my idea was that the Inventor team would create a feature whereby you could create an instance level property on a component, whether it be a content center component or not. And for each instance of that component, the property could have a unique value. So we're going to do a really quick demonstration of how this works. And I'm going to show you a few neat things that I figured out already about it that are even better than what I expected. So you can see I've got this quick design that I've used this in the past. It's just a real quick piping layout that allows me to play around with a lot of different features. Every item on this screen is going to end up having a P&ID tag number that needs to correspond to my 2D schematic, which I'm not going to show you right now because I don't have one. But for example, this valve down here would have a value of maybe HV100. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to put that on there? Let me show you the new instance properties. So we're going to get into that subassembly, click on this component, and if I right click on there, you'll see in the menu already instance properties. It shows up that easy, not hard to find at all. Now this is going to take you to classic kind of looking iProperty type window, very similar, but it's for the instance properties. So the first thing you need to do is give your new property a name, and I'm just going to simply call this tag because that's really what it is for my purposes. You have the same options you see on most iProperties where you can choose text, date, number, or a Boolean. I'm going to leave it as text because these are going to be kind of an alphanumeric tag number. So for this example, let's give this the number that I mentioned before. We'll call it HV100. Then you add. It drops that tag down just like you would see in your iProperties. It actually looks right now as if it were a custom iProperty, but it's not. It's unique to this instance of that content center part. We'll hit apply and close. And that's really all there is to adding it to this one part. Now I got to go through and add it to every other part in the assembly, correct? And that could be kind of cumbersome if you want to use the same property name and different values all throughout. And I was thinking, that's okay. That's better than nothing. But then I discovered something really cool about this. So let me get back to the top of my assembly. And I'm going to go into the bill of materials. So now your bill of materials does not show that property because it's not a standard property. This is something brand new. It's treated as if it were a custom iProperty in your bill of materials. So that means that I need to If I can find how to, there we go. I had to remember how to do this. We need to add the custom iProperty column. Even though it's not actually an iProperty, it's treated as if it were. So we're going to click in here to add that column. And remember, I just called it tag. We're going to hit OK. And now here's the tag. Well, where is it? It's not showing yet. The reason for that is that it's actually embedded into one of these two. It's in this pump suction piping is what it is. So in order for that to show at this level, I'm going to have to make this a phantom in order to open up all of the components underneath it. Normally I would not do that. I would just do the bill of materials for each subassembly. But in order to show you how this works, I'm going to do it this way for now, just so that I can get this number to show. And you see there is my HV100. Now it has put this column alongside every item in my BOM. So now that means that that tag property is available for every single one of my components. And I could just go through and fill in the values right here. There is a catch. Let's look for another one of my, well, let's do the tank, for example. The tank is going to have a number such like T dash something. We'll use T dash 100 just to keep it very simple. So I'm going to put that in there. Notice it is not blue like the HV100. That's because it doesn't know whether you want this to be a custom iProperty or an instance property. So you can simply go in, right click, and it defaults it to a custom iProperty. If you change that to an instance property, you'll see it turns blue. Now, the real cool thing about this is that once you're in your bill of materials and you've got that column created, you can simply work your way down the line and give this number to all of your components, whatever that tag number may be. And then you can go back through and change them all to instance properties. So we'll call this E120. I think let's change this to Phantom as well, so we can break that out and we'll get our other valves in there. Gasket flanges. Here's my valves. So, okay, so we've got a check valve. We'll call this C150. Come on. So I had to change that to an instance property. And I lost my bill of materials. Let's try that again. We'll change it to an instance property, which I did, and I should be able to start typing that value in here now. There we go. And the same with the globe valve. Remember, it's going to automatically put it as an iProperty. And since this is a content center part, it's not going to allow me to just type a value in there because content center parts, if you want to add a custom iProperty, you have to actually change the family template and modify it that way. So I'm going to change this to instance property, and I should be able to put in my value. Let's just call this 160. The value doesn't matter at this point. So these are automatically set, already set to instance properties, but these two are not. So very simply, highlight both of those and change them to an instance property. It's that simple. Now, if I were to place another one of these heat exchangers or another one of these pumps or another one of these tanks, I could put a unique tag number on each one of them so that they're identifiable to anyone who's looking at the documentation. They know that the first tank is T100, the second tank is T110, whatever the number may be. And it's really just that simple to set up these instance property tags. Now, if something changes in the design, I don't need to manually go in and change the static text on my drawing because this property can be carried through to the parts list on my drawing. And if I change it on the model, it's going to reflect it in the drawing automatically. So that is instance level properties. I think that's all I'm going to show for today. I'm going to continue playing with it for a little while, and if I find something new, I will create a new video and I'll update everyone. So thank you for watching. I know I'm a little rusty with the videos, but hey, we'll get there, right? Thanks for watching and tune in next time.